Hello, hello. Welcome back to Life After Plus One. I'm Leanne, your podcast host and your single parent mentor and coach. And today I want to talk about your ex. Well, not just your ex, about letting go of them, moving on from them and focusing on your life. Because letting go and moving on is the hardest part of a breakup, because you don't just break up with someone that you've loved for so much and you've had a kid with them. Maybe you haven't, but even if you have had a child together, you've got that attachment together. So how do you just let go when you got to stay in communication with them? How do you let go of someone when you once had this really nice bond where you did love them because you had a child together? How do you move on from this? So let's talk about letting go of that part of your life, letting go of your ex and moving on for you and for your kids. Welcome to the Life After Plus One podcast, where we turn life's lemons into delightful lemonade. Get ready for inspiring stories, uplifting conversations, and all the tips and tricks to rock your single parent journey with style. I'm your host, Leanne, and it's time to embrace the adventure of Life After Plus One. So let's dive in. Now, it's really easy for someone to turn around and say to you, just forget them, just move on, just block them. I mean, that's easy, isn't it? But as the old saying goes, it's easier said than done. You can't just block someone and then all of a sudden completely forget about this person. You can't just wake up one day and say, I want to forget them. Then all of a sudden they're totally gone from your memory. You've completely erased everything about them. It is not that easy. If only it was, right? So what do? How do you let go and how do you move on? And most importantly, why are you struggling to let go of them? Why are you struggling to move forward? Why are you constantly thinking about them when you've broken up? So clearly there's been some heartbreak there, but yet you're still thinking about the past. You're still thinking about, oh, what if we stay together? But what if you stayed single and it all worked out so much better? So let's talk about it. Letting go. I did do an episode some time back. I think it was actually episode number 2, one of the very first ones, about letting go. And there was some steps there of what you can do and how to go through the process and things that you can do to help let go and to help move on from your ex. And go back and have a listen to that episode if you haven't already. But it covers things like learning to look after you, learning to prioritize your needs, learning to not be so involved in their life and just step back and just keep contact to a minimum and only be in contact with them when you have to be. But another way that you can look at to help you move forward and to help you let go is to look at why you are holding on to them. Why are you maybe thinking of wanting them back or thinking, what if it all worked out with us? What if we didn't break up? But the thing is, you did, and you have gone your separate ways. But now you're struggling to stop thinking about them. You're struggling to stop thinking about what they're doing. You're struggling to stop thinking about what would life be like if you were still together. Now, what I want to ask you is, why are you struggling so much? What is it that is holding you back? Because as I just mentioned, there's a reason that you broke up. There's a reason that you're in this situation. And most importantly, if they've moved on and they have a new partner, whether it be a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, or wife, they may have already remarried, and you're still in that phase of struggling to let go, then this is the time that you need to come to terms that there is no way you guys are getting back together. If they've got a new partner, you guys are done. You're finished. And that may sound brutally honest, but I'm sorry, it is true. They've moved on. Now, some partners do move on, or I should say ex-partners do move on much quicker than others. Everyone has their own reason for that. Majority of the time, it's a band-aid fix. They don't like being single, their ego is hurt, and getting a new partner is a good way to cover up that pain of the breakup from your relationship. But keep in mind, This is not always the case. Sometimes people have emotionally clocked off a year or maybe even more whilst in that relationship. They've clocked off, they're done, there was no love, and they've just stuck around for the kids. So they might end that relationship and be ready to go straight into a new relationship. So it's not always about just finding a quick fix or getting their ego stroked or just trying to cover up the pain. But a lot of the time it is. But whether or not your ex has a new partner and you're finding it really hard to move forward, I want you to ask yourself, what is keeping you attached? What is keeping you from moving forward? Now, a lot of the times people struggle with the fact of just being single and doing life completely on their own because it's hard, especially if you've met your previous partner, your ex-husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever situation it was. You could have been in a long-term relationship, 10, 20, 30 years, and now you're out on your own. It's a huge adjustment to work out how to do things on your own. And you get so dependent on this other person. It's like, fuck, what do I do now? How do I do this? So part of you thinking, I just need them to help me with this. I just need them, or I just need their advice, or I'll just give them a call for this. Or if they were here, they would do it. Oh, I wish we were still together. But is it that you actually miss the person? Are you honestly missing your ex and what they provided in the relationship? Because a lot of the time, it's not so much the person that is being missed, it's the feeling of being loved. And even though your ex may have rarely given you that feeling of being loved and wanted, you saw little sprinkles of it. And that's what you're holding on to. Just that small dose of feeling loved, feeling accepted, feeling wanted. Because really, in life, that's what we all want. We all just want to be loved. We all want to be accepted. We all want to feel needed and included. And when you've just broken up from a long-term relationship, it can be a bit of a kick in the guts, like you've just been discarded. You're no longer wanted. You're no longer needed. You're not loved. You're just not for me. You're not my person. And it's left you feeling like nobody wants you. You're not going to find another person. And you're just going to continue living life on your own and being single for the rest of your life. This is not going to be the case. Unless you choose to do that and refuse to go out on any dates, then yes, maybe it will. But no, that is very unlikely going to be the case. Did that just make sense? I don't know. But anyway, so when it comes to moving forward, you need to realize, are you holding on to something from the past? Is there something that you're feeling that you're not getting right now that's keeping you stuck to your ex-partner? Well, not so much stuck, but it's keeping you from a place of moving on. It's holding you back where you just can't let go of them. And if you're at that place where it's because you're missing the feeling of being loved, you're missing the feeling of being wanted, you're missing the feeling of having someone in your life, which is understandable. It's nice to have someone there. It's nice to have someone to tell you that they love you and tell you how amazing you are. But let's be honest, not all partners do that. And let's hope that there's only the ex-partners that do that, because anyone new in your current situation or coming up in your future relationships should not be doing that to you. And you should be knowing from listening to this podcast that you do not accept that kind of behavior in a partner. So moving forward, if you're at a place where you're just like, I can't let go, and your friends are telling you just to block them, just ignore them, just forget them, and you're really struggling to do that, you're really struggling to move on, you can't stop looking at their social media, you can't stop judging their new partner and questioning everything about them, I want you to ask yourself, is it really your ex that you're missing? Are you really missing your ex? Are you really missing that life you had with your ex? Or are you just missing the feeling of having someone there for you? And because your ex was there and you just felt like you had someone, You just felt like you were needed and wanted, and now you don't have that, so it must be your ex that you want back again. But if they were able to give it to you, then why are they not still with you? And this is why so many people struggle to move forward, because they just want someone to make them feel loved. They just want someone to make them feel wanted. And this is another reason why people fall into the wrong relationships. Because they meet people, they go on a date, their gut tells them there's something not right about this. I'm not sure if this is what I'm looking for, but I will give it a go. I will try it. Or they're showing that they like me, so they must be the right person. So you settle for people, which is what I discussed in the last episode, talking about, are you settling in your relationships? And when you're wanting that feeling of just being loved and just being wanted, you do settle. You do settle for the wrong relationships and the wrong people, because you're just wanting someone to accept you. You're wanting someone to love you and want you. But at the end of the day, the biggest person, the main person, I should say, that you need to love you is yourself. That's right, folks. It's you. You need to learn to love yourself. As crazy as that sounds, but it's true. Because if you don't love yourself, how is someone else going to love you? And when you don't love yourself, you fall into the trap of settling because you think you're not good enough. You think you're not worthy of something better. You think you don't deserve the right person, or you think you don't deserve the person that you're after, because you don't love yourself to know what you're actually worth. And being in a place where you are struggling to let go of your ex, and you're struggling to move on from your ex, and you just keep thinking about that past life, I want you to try and redirect that thinking. If you're at that place where it's all about your ex and you can't let them go, and you're just struggling to do anything you can to move forward, I want you to use this time to start looking after you. Now, it's crazy as it sounds. Everyone says, yes, you've got to do self-care. Yes, you've got to look after yourself. And yes, I say it all the time on the podcast as well, if you've listened all the way back. I preach it all the time. Self-care is so important. And I also talk about it on my Instagram, and I share it on my stories all the time. You need to look after you. And people go, yes, self-care, self-care, self-care. And it's not just about just going for a walk once or twice, or just going to the gym. Yep, I'm looking after myself. No, it's about looking after your needs. Not just maybe going for a walk, not just maybe going to the gym, not just maybe chatting to a friend once a week or however often. It's about actually looking after you. And that's what's important. You need to look after your needs. And how do the two correlate? How does it, you looking after your needs, relate to you moving on and letting go of your ex? It does in a massive way, because when you start looking after you and when you start looking after your needs, you start to learn what you're actually worth. You start to learn what you actually deserve. You start to learn that you can love yourself, you can look after yourself, and you don't need your ex to do that for you. So that's how it relates. And as I just mentioned, yes, self-care is very important, but please don't overlook just doing a few little nice things here and there, for actually using it to look after your needs. It's about doing what you want, not just about what your kids want, or not just about what your ex wants. You're not there to be at your ex's beck and call, and you're not there to 100% of the time be at your kids' beck and call. Yes, it is nice to always do things for our kids. I understand. It's hard to say no sometimes. But you need to look after your needs. And that's what is important. Because if you're not looking after you, and you're not looking after your needs, then who is? Who is looking after you if you're not? Now, I understand as a single parent, it is extremely common to put yourself as last priority, because you are so busy, life is crazy, life is hectic, and you are always last priority. And when you become last priority, in your life, you get to a place where you just crave attention. You crave to feel accepted. You crave to feel wanted, especially when you're at a place where you don't have a large friend group, which is quite common when people become single parents for the first time. They leave their husband or wife, and you might have had mutual friends and they've just gone their own separate ways. And it may not be an intentional thing, because it's hard when you have married friends for them to actually understand your situation. And this is not being rude or nasty in any way to married people, but they don't understand your situation. Married friends don't know the questions to ask. Married friends feel like they've got to take sides, and they don't want to do that. Married friends don't know the pain and the hurt that you are going through. Now, again, this is no disrespect to them. Some of them might be really great. Some of them might be good and know how to actually talk about feelings and talk about what you're going through, and might be amazing at talking through these things. But a lot of the times they just don't get it. To them, it's just a breakup like they went through in high school, but it's not. It's very different. It's very different when you've broken up with your co-parent and you're having to keep them in your life and still see them all the time for the sake of the kids. It's very different. So what I was getting at with that point is that that's an example of why it's so common for single parents to not have a large friend group, or to sometimes have no friends, because they've lost a lot of them during the breakup. So there's that feeling of being lonely and just not having anyone, which can keep them stuck onto the past and keep them stuck onto wanting to feel loved and needing that attention from their ex, because they've just got no one in their life right now. Now, that's not always the case, but that is a prime example of what happens. They've got no friends all of a sudden. They're feeling lonely. They're feeling unloved. They're feeling like they've just got no one that's wanting them. They're not feeling accepted, and they just can't let go of their ex, because that's that one small thing that you can hold on to that might make you feel loved and accepted. Now, here's a quick little news flash for you. Do not rely on your ex to make you feel better. It is not your ex's job to make you feel loved and accepted. It is your job. So if you're feeling like you're not good enough, if you're feeling like you're not wanted, if you're feeling like you're not loved, then that's not your ex's job to fix. It's yours. And how do you do that? You start looking after your needs. You start looking after you and what you want. And I get it. As a single parent, it is easy to put your needs on the back burner. I don't have time. I don't have money. I can't afford it. When am I supposed to do it? I'm working all day and then I come home to the kids. I can't look after me. Yes, you can. Because if you've got time to sit there and stew on about your ex, if you've got time to stalk your ex's social media, if you've got time to sit there and miss your ex and want them and struggle to let go of them and constantly think about them, then you've got time. It is start using that time and that energy that you're using on your ex, that you're wasting on your ex, thinking about what was, thinking about what you wish you could have when they've moved on with a new partner, but you're struggling to let go. You're struggling to move forward. You know what? Use that energy that you're using on your ex and use it towards doing something for you. So next time you're caught in a headspace of, oh, I wonder what my ex is doing. Oh, I wish we were doing this. Or I wish we were doing that. I want you to reframe that and start thinking about you and start thinking what you can do for you to make yourself feel better. Because constantly thinking about your ex is not going to work. Now, the sad thing is a lot of people, when they're in this headspace and they're in the place of thinking, I just want my ex, I can't let go, then they jump back into the dating world and find another person and use that person as a way to make them feel better. Now, I'm not saying that you can't find a partner that can maybe help you through certain situations. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I am saying it's not up to somebody else to fix you. It's not up to somebody else to make you happy. It's your job. You want to be a happy person and then go into the dating world. You want to look after yourself and look after your needs, then go into the dating world. So jumping straight into the dating world because you're struggling to move on from your ex and you're struggling to let go, you're going to just sweep everything under the carpet. And any pain and hurt that you're feeling is not going to be fixed. It's going to be swept under the carpet. You're going to find this new partner. And then worst case scenario, that goes to the shit. You end up breaking up and you're going through the same pattern again. And you're feeling lonely. You're feeling sad. You're feeling miserable. So the same thing's going to happen. You're going to jump back into another relationship where they can hopefully make you feel better and happy. Am I wishing this pattern on anybody? Definitely not. But the purpose of this episode is to get you to look at why you can't let go of your ex and why you can't move forward. And I want you to really look at, is it the relationship that you miss? Because you broke up for a reason. You are single for a reason. So obviously there was something happening in the relationship that you weren't happy with that caused you to go your separate ways. So the moral of today's episode is I want you to really pay attention or take note as to what you're actually thinking about when you're struggling to let go of your ex. Is it really them that you're missing? Is it really that life that you're missing? Or is it the feeling of just having someone love you? Is it the feeling of just being needed and wanted? And if that's what it is, then that's not your ex's job to fix. If that's where you're at, then you really need to start looking after your needs and making yourself feel good. And it's more than just doing self-care. Yes, self-care is important. Doing things for you is important. But it's also about looking after your needs, not just doing things because everybody's asking you to, not just putting yourself on the back burner because your needs aren't important. Because if your needs aren't important, then you wouldn't be worrying about your ex because you wouldn't be needing that feeling of being loved and accepted and wanted. Your needs are important. Your needs do need to be looked after. It's a lot of needs in that, isn't it? So don't neglect yourself because when you do, you fall down the rabbit hole of looking for it in the wrong places. You look for love and you look for attention and you look for acceptance in the wrong places. And by saying in the wrong places, I mean you're looking for it from your ex. Or sometimes you fall into the trap of looking for it by going on dates with people that are not right for you. And you know they're not right, but you're just wanting to feel loved. You're wanting to feel accepted. You're wanting someone to want you. And that's why you're struggling to let go of the past. That's why you're struggling to move forward. You can find someone that's right for you. You can find someone that's not going to hold you back in the past. But to get to that place, you really need to start looking after your needs, looking after you, and getting to a place where you're comfortable to just be on your own. Because when you're there, when you're at that place, you don't sit there and stew on the past. You don't sit there and wish you had your ex back. You don't sit there and struggle to let go and move forward from them. I mean, in all honesty, there are some certain situations where you may legitimately miss that particular person. And that's understandable. But if something bad did happen, or not so much bad, but if something happened that was toxic, that was unhealthy, that caused you guys to break up, then why are you chasing that feeling from someone that did wrong by you? Why are you chasing that feeling of wanting to be loved by someone who broke up with you? This is the time and the place where you need to know, or you need to learn to accept that maybe that person felt right for you in the moment, but if they were, they wouldn't have just broken up with you. They wouldn't have just left you. They wouldn't have put you through whatever situation you went through to cause that breakup. That is not the right person for you. You don't need to chase that feeling from somebody that has left you, because that right person that's going to give you that feeling is still out there. So stop holding on to the past for validation. Stop holding on to your ex as a way to make you feel better, or hoping they will come back to you, or hoping they will tell you that they miss you, or hoping that they will tell you that they're sorry. And this is another thing that you need to accept after you've broken up. You are not going to get an apology from them. It is very rare an ex will give you an apology. And even if they did, it's not going to change your situation. You don't get closure from an ex. You get closure from yourself when you learn to accept that's what it is. I deserve better. I'm going to start looking after me and what's going to make me feel good. And that's my priority. And that's where you need to be. You need to learn to let that go, move forward from that, because it's holding you back. It's holding you back from the right relationship. It's holding you back from learning to look after your needs. You're spending too much time and energy focusing on what could have been, what was, from an ex, someone who's no longer in your life, when you can give yourself so much more. So learn to find your confidence. And there is an episode on here about confidence. So go back and scroll to it if that's what you're struggling with. Learn to find that. Learn to find your self-worth and know that you deserve better. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that your ex was a bad person, but I am saying they are your ex. And they are your ex for a reason. So leave them there. Leave them in the past, especially if they have a new partner. Leave them. The more time you spend wasting on them, the more it is holding you back from something better. You cannot find a quality relationship when you're spending your time focusing on your ex and what they are doing. You cannot move on to something bigger and better when you're spending your time wishing you had what you had in the past. And if you go from that feeling of just wishing you had them to make you feel good, then that's how you end up doing those rebound relationships where you just jump to another relationship so they can make you feel good, so they can make you feel better. And then you think they make you feel better because you've lost that feeling or need to think about your ex. Because you've got that need or you've got that feeling of being accepted and wanted because you've got a new partner in your life. You need to learn to love yourself. You need to learn to accept where you are. You need to learn to look after your needs and what you want. And this might come down to sitting down and writing a list. Write down a list of things of what you want to do, what you want to achieve, places you want to go to. Even if it's something completely insane that you don't think you can ever get done, write it down. It's still something you want to do, and use that to put your time and energy into. So when you get to a place where you're thinking about your ex and you're thinking about them and you're struggling to move forward and you're struggling to let go, look at the things that you want to do and put your time and energy onto that. Focus on you. Focus on what matters, you. Because you cannot show up good for your kids when you're in that shitty headspace of constantly focusing on your ex. And there's a very high chance that your ex is not sitting around thinking about you. Now, I know that sounds harsh, but there's a good chance that's true. So why are you wasting your time and energy thinking about someone who's probably not even thinking or caring about what you're doing? Take the energy off them and put it on you. That is the first step to letting go and moving forward. Put yourself as a priority. And that's why I was saying it's not just a matter of blocking them. It's not just a matter of saying, yep, I'm going to forget about them. There's more to it. There is more to it. You don't have to have them blocked. You can keep them unblocked. You can keep in communication with them, especially if you have kids together. But you've got to learn to let go of that need for them. And by doing that, you've got to learn to focus on you. You've got to learn to prioritize you. And that may be a hard thing for people to swallow. It may be an unrealistic expectation for some because you know that that just doesn't happen. You don't have the time to look after you. Yes, you do. There is always time to look after you. There is time to sit down and write a list of things that you want and things that you want to do. If you've got time to sit down and stalk your ex on social media, you've got time to sit down and write things of what you want. If you've got time to sit there and call your ex over stupid things or message them over irrelevant things that's not related to your kids, you've got time to sit there and look at their photos, then you've got time to sit there and do 5 or 10 minutes of something for you. So if you're struggling to let go of your ex, you're struggling to move forward from your ex, then this is your reminder to start reframing that. Start looking at it from a different angle. When you're focusing on them and what they're doing, you're missing them. You can't let go. You can't move forward. I want you to, one, look at what is it that you're thinking about. Is it really your ex, or you just want someone to love you? You want someone to want you and accept you. Because if that's what it is, get out and start looking after you. That's the first place to start. Second place, get out and start making new friends. Meet people that are going to uplift you and that are going to make you feel good. Because when you have that in your life, you're not going to be dependent on that feeling from an ex or from a new partner that you know is not right for you, but you're hanging on to them because they're giving you that feeling of being loved. So, this is your friendly reminder in this episode. Really look at the reason why you can't let go, why you can't move forward. Because there's a good chance you're in this situation because you've both been emotionally hurt. You've been heartbroken. You've been let down, but you're still missing them. You're still wanting them. Look at that reason as to why you want them after all of this has happened. And then start looking after you and look after your needs. It's okay to say no to your kids because you're doing something for you. Start scheduling some time in your diary. Even if it's 15 minutes, put it in so there's no excuse not to do it. You're not a bad parent for saying no. You're not a bad friend for saying no because you want to look after yourself. Start looking after your needs. And then when you're in a better headspace and you're feeling good about yourself, you're more inclined to find the right partner when you're feeling like that. You're in a better headspace. You're feeling good in yourself. You're feeling happier. That's how you want to be when you go into the dating world. Not feeling negative, not feeling sad, not feeling upset, but you're in the dating world because you're hoping someone will make you feel better. You're hoping someone will make you forget about the past. Wrong reasons to be dating. Start looking after you. So I hope you all got something from this because it is a big thing. Letting go of your ex and moving forward is a big thing. But the big thing that people forget is why they can't let go. Looking at the reason of what's holding them back. Is it the person or is it the feeling that you're missing? And most of the time, it's that feeling. And that's not going to come from your ex. It's going to come from you. So thank you, everyone, for jumping on and listening for another week. And I hope you take away something from this. And if you are loving it and if you are enjoying what you're hearing, then give us a review. It takes 2 seconds. Whatever platform you're listening to us on, give your feedback. I'd love to hear it. And that's how it gets into more ears and heard with our single parent community. And don't forget, if you've got single parent friends, share it with them. Give them this support that they need. And if you yourself are after any extra support, then jump on my website. It's all the details are in the show notes. I've got those ebooks still available for your single parent guide to single parenting, your single parent's guide to dating, and a single parent's guide to self-care, which is not just pampering and going to golf or having a drink with your mates. It's about looking after your needs, which is what we discussed here in today's show. So those ebooks are all available on the website. So those details are in the show notes below. And thank you again, everyone. And until next week, I'll be in your ears then. Thank you for joining us on the Life After Plus One podcast. If you loved what you heard today and looking for some further support, then jump onto our website, lifeafterplusone.com. Plus, don't forget to check out our Instagram page for further resources and inspo. You can find all the links in the show notes. And remember, you're not alone on this path. I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next episode. And in the meantime, keep thriving, keep growing, and keep exploring your amazing life after plus one.